Welcome to the Real Estate Brief. I'm Adam, and today we're cutting through the noise. We're going to get to the truth that we find inside of the news and look at the data. And I'm going to give you some of my observations and where I truly believe that you can find a lot of opportunity inside of every type of news article. And given that there is a lot of negativity that kind of comes across the news, but in reality, if there is a lot of opportunity that's just resting right inside of the words that are printed in every single news article. So today we're going to try to dissect that and pull out the meat in there and then use that for our businesses to help us grow. So if you're ready to gain your real estate edge, let's dive into our very first story of the day. So let me transition here my camera. I'm going to split view. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Walker, welcome. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Nate, good to see you. Miss Coop Dog, welcome. George, welcome. Beaver Cleaver, George, welcome again. Yep, say hello. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate that. Let's jump into our very first article here. So this one comes to us by Realtor.com. Let's see if I can find out who this is written by. Give a shout out to the person that wrote this article. Ooh, that's a lot in there. I don't see a name. So we're just going to say Realtor.com. Thank you for for writing this article for us to kind of go through here and reframe our minds around. So let's just jump into this. This in Realtor.com, what they're doing here is they're kind of bringing to our attention that there is really a lot of bloatware in our technology. There's a lot of stuff that we are doing that we're not really ultimately using. So, and we do know that there is tons and tons of hype around all of the different AI tools that are out there, right? But the important detail is that most of the agents, or if you guys are agents out there watching, you know that we are overpaying for a lot of tools that you're not actually using, right? And a lot of these tools take us away from helping us do what we really need to be doing, and that is building authentic, true relationships with many other people. So, Kristen, welcome in. Fluffy, good to see you. TJ, Pray, welcome. Thank you guys for joining in to the live stream today. Do appreciate that greatly. Thank you for taking the time to sit here and watch. Mama, welcome here too. Mama Locks, thank you for being here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this this article here. And it says the real estate tech landscape changes fast. I think everybody would agree with that, right? And many agents feel pressure to keep up, adding new apps, upgrading subscriptions, or trying out tools recommended by friends or team members. But more tools don't always lead to more efficiency. In fact, more agents, the opposite is true. Too many platforms create confusion, duplicate work, and scattered information. How many of you guys would agree with that? I think most of us would agree with that. Absolutely. That's why the best performing agents are shifting away from more software and towards strategic simplicity. Instead of chasing every new app, they're focused on building a lean tech stack that works together, automates repetitive tasks, and supports their biggest goals for the year ahead. So let's start with a tech stack. They recommend starting with a tech stack audit. So it says, before you invest in new tools or lock in another annual subscription, it's worth understanding what your current stack looks like. So I'll pause here for just a second. So let's think about this, right? So most of you guys out there, if you are real estate agents, you are part of a brokerage that offers some form or some version of technology, right? There's a lot of you guys out there that have a lot of technology already at your disposal. But here's the trap that we often fall into, because especially if you're on social media, there's constant suggestions, right? There's an algorithm working in behind the scenes that is constantly suggesting all the newest and greatest things. And most of those things can be absolutely a distraction for you to take you away from the things you already have that maybe will work that you've just not implemented yet. So I would say absolutely go back and look at your own tech stack that you have currently right now and see what you're using and what you're not using. Maybe you already have a lot of the tools and stuff that might even be mentioned in this article, and you're just not using it correctly or even effectively or at all. And maybe you actually have this at your disposal. So just don't jump on the next biggest, greatest thing, because when we start talking about CRMs and stuff like that, look, they are a database. It's like the modern day Rolodex, right? With many more features in them, but that's what they are. So you could spend all day switching back and forth and using many different kinds, but really get good at one, build the database and just massage it and build relationships. So I think that's what we're going to be kind of getting into here. All right, identify which tools you actually use. So this is kind of this this audit that they're kind of addressing. Now, you hear the term audit and you kind of freak out just a little bit if you're like me. right? It's like, oh my goodness, they're going to audit me, and then taxes and that kind of stuff, right? Well, auditing is a very good practice, and especially if we're going to start looking at our business. Like, I want to audit how I got my leads. I want to audit where I got my closings from. I want to audit, what money I spent and what brought me the most big return, my ROI, right? I'm auditing all of those things. So they're suggesting to audit your own tech stack. Are you using your tech stack or not, right? So start by pulling a list of every real estate related platform you currently pay for or have access to. That includes, and they list off a ton of them: CRMs, email or texting platforms, marketing automation, lead generating subscriptions. Those can be very costly, guys. Very, very expensive stuff. AI tools. There's a lot of bloatware that we've just, this AI sounds great, that we are paying for, or we maybe don't pay for, but we're not even using, that just causes more distraction. Showing or touring tools, transaction management, all those type of things. And they're asking, basically ask yourself these 3 questions. How often do I use this tool? What purpose does it serve? And does this tool make my work easier? What we need to do when we start talking about technology, we got to understand that what we're really trying to use technology for is to streamline our processes, so that way we can spend more time connecting with people face to face. That's the goal. If technology is taking us away from being able to spend more time face to face with people and serving people, then it's a distraction. It's not actually good for the ROI, right? It's definitely not good for a referral based business. So that's the argument here. So by asking yourself those 3 questions, which I would agree with what they're saying, that sets us up to be able to analyze and audit the software that we're using to make sure that we're using it effectively. All right. Calculate what each tool really costs. Is there a monthly or annual subscription fee? Is there add-ons or upgraded tiers? Multiple user seats? Fees tied to lead volume or transactions? Time spent troubleshooting or doing manual tasks that the tool can't automate? All right, so go through and just look at your tech stack and see if any of these things are happening, right? Is all these fees adding up and just hurting your bottom line, and you're not actually seeing any kind of return on investment? Cut it. Get rid of it. Decide what to keep, cut, or replace. Keep tools that are essential. And look, they even suggest this. They suggest prospecting, nurturing leads, managing transactions, or maintaining client relationships, right? Those are addressing some of the core tenets of what it takes to be a good, successful real estate agent and to grow a strong real estate business, right? That's the key things, right? Because we've got to always be prospecting, constantly prospecting. Is there a tool that helps me do that? If I'm nurturing leads, is there a tool that I use on a daily basis that helps me to nurture and massage those leads to help them to convert? Then do I have a software that manages the transaction, paperless software, .loop, whatever you might use, DocuSign, other ones? And then at the end of the day, is there technology that helps me maintain strong client relationships? This is where I need to pour my efforts into. Everything else tends to be a distraction though, right? Cut tools that are unused, duplicative, outdated, or disconnected from your 2026 goals, and replace platforms that slow you down. So if there's anything that's slowing you down in your business, that's a great thing to just kind of cut and get rid of. They suggest a powerful, easy to use CRM, automated follow-up reminders, text and email templates. You kind of get the idea. I would lean in. I go back to your brokerage, look at the CRMs that they offer. And if you're here's the thing, this is a trap. I see this all the time. Brokerages will offer a CRM and agents won't even log in to use it. And they just count it up as, it's not any good. And then they go out and they start paying for another CRM. And sure, there are many different CRMs that have so many different abilities and things like that, and that's fair. But they are a contact management software. If you don't have contacts in that software and you're not using it, it doesn't even matter. So if you don't even have a large contact database, that CRM that you're trying to switch around to and pay monthly for and all that kind of stuff, to be honest, doesn't even matter. You need to build your database up first. You need to get in front of people and build your list. Like, you're not even at the point where a CRM even makes sense to go out and spend money for. So your brokerage provides one, use that. Start there before you start spending any kind of money, right? Money saved is money earned. At the end of the day, that's income, right? Don't just give away your money freely to whatever sounds good. So scrutinize your CRM. Marketing automation that saves time. Email drip campaigns, monthly newsletters, social media scheduling, AI-powered writing or editing tools. These are all things that I would say, like, AI is really good at helping you do. This is where AI will shine. It will come in and help bring some consistency to what you do. You can take, the interesting thing too, and I keep talking about this, is like, you can take videos from YouTube, right? You can take those links and paste them into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI you use, and say, hey, give me some actionable newsletter items from this. Now, I'm not talking about stealing data, stealing information, but allowing, because what I'm saying here, even, this is not rocket science. I'm not giving any kind of secret information, right? This is just what we do as real estate agents. This is what we use, and this is how we operate. So really, what do we do here, right? This is where AI truly, truly shines, right? All right. Lead generation tools that match your goals. Not all lead gen systems are the same, and not all of them will work for your business. They start talking about like portal leads. Look, it can be super expensive. My advice when it comes to spending money on leads, you go that route once you have completely exhausted every other form of free lead generating that you can do. Once you build up a system that helps you, get in front of people, like you go out to coffee with your core group, you serve in the community, you door knock, you make cold calls, you follow up and you connect with people in your community. Once you have exhausted all of those free options and you've got that business kind of coming in out of your core sphere of influence, only then would I look at trying to go into the portal lead war. It's super, super expensive. It is a very expensive endeavor. And if you're a new agent, that is almost a lost cause. You've got to develop really strong scripts and closing tactics to be able to even convert those leads. And you're gonna be spinning your wheels a whole lot. If you're a new agent, I would lean into a lot of the free type of marketing that you can do to generate leads. And that is through your sphere of influence. Getting out there, even just going after expireds and for sale by owners. Go that route before you start spending money, right? And then I would absolutely say the next one here, they say referrals. This is by nature a referral-based business, so spend a lot of time doing that. Social media ads, your website, your sphere, open houses, those type of things. Showing and touring tools that meet modern expectations. There's tons of those things out there. Go back and look through all those type of things. Analyze your transaction management and e-signing that keeps you organized. I would say go into your paperless software and organize it where it streamlines your processes. If you've not done this is like ground zero stuff. When our agents come in and they affiliate with us, we start setting them up quickly on getting their, we use .loop. Once they get .loop set up, we go in there, we have the buyer forms, the seller forms, we have the additional forms, we have all forms. We have everything categorized for them so they can quickly get to those forms without trying to find everything. This is a major time suck if you don't keep your files organized on there and you don't have these folders set up. If you're in the field and you need to write up an offer, it's so much easier to open up your app, pull the folder that says buyer folder and pull all those documents in and then go, right? So make sure that's organized for just efficiency's sake. Signs your tech stack is holding you back. If your system feels clunky or you've started avoiding certain tools altogether, it may be time for a reset. Watch for these common signals. Guys, I do appreciate everybody watching. Thank you guys so much. Entering the same data twice, duplicating information across platforms, like entering contacts into your CRM and your marketing tool separately. So there's a lot of tools out there. You guys can research this, Zapier and those type of places. Like if I do this, then that happens. IFFT, if this, then that. Those systems allow you to be able to take a system and put your data in here, and it triggers this other program to run and then update another system. Look into those things. Look into Zapier and other types of systems like that automate that process for you, because it can save you a whole lot of time, right? And AI is getting more and more integrated into people's cell phones now more than ever. So that's becoming a very big thing as well. Avoid logging into certain tools. If you dread opening a tool, it's not the right fit. Yep. If you don't like it, don't use it, right? But before you just count it out, make sure you've experienced it and you research it, you know what you're doing. Map your workflow first. Before you choose any new software, outline your typical workflow. All right, this is a big one. This is where your systems come into place, right? And a successful agent, if you look at that screen right here real quick, if you really want to grow a strong real estate business, if that is your goal, which I would assume every single person watching right now, that is exactly what you're wanting to do, you need to develop a very systemized process for each one of these categories right here. What's your system and process for prospecting? Lead intake. What do you do when you capture a lead? What kind of follow-up plan do you have? and how consistently do you follow up? How do you handle your appointment settings, your showings and tourings? How do you do your offer preparation, your transaction management? How do you prepare for closings? And then what do you do after the closing for retaining the client after you close, right? These are the core systems and processes right there. They did a great job. Whoever wrote this article is an excellent job laying out exactly where the agent needs to focus on building systems at. That's the list. If you want to have a streamlined business that delivers an exceptional service to somebody and gives them value, you address each one of those categories in your business and you build it from there. This would do it. This would do it. Very good. Look for tools that centralize your work, right? This is where you basically have all these different, technologies spread out everywhere. I would go and look for consolidation. Try to find things that bring all these other tech decks into one place. So that way time is saved and the efficiency is increased, right? Then I would prioritize integrations and automations like calendar syncs, automated task creation, those type of things, right? If you guys are getting value out of this, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, please. That'd be awesome. Then they talk about using Q1 to clean house and set yourself up for the year. A simple 30-day tech cleanup plan. It says week 1, audit your stack, go through everything. Week 2, cut or replace. Week 3, rebuild workflows. Week 4, test everything. So that's your process for the first, 4 weeks if you guys want to do it. That's a great idea. Create a yearly tech budget. I'd go through and set your budget up. But you get the idea. You get the idea. This is how you build a business, right? So I will say many, many agents, if you're out there, you are losing probably a lot of money. I have seen agents losing $500 to $1,000 to many thousands of dollars monthly on redundant subscriptions and lead generating tools that they either the tool part, they haven't even opened up probably in the past 90 days or they're paying for a lot of leads that they've not even been able to convert. I would go back and look at every single one of those things and see what's actually giving you ROI, return on your investment, right? I would go back and look and see what's actually working. Take the time to do it, guys, because that money saved is money earned. Time saved is time gained. So these are two things that you really want to lean into doing. I would also kind of go into, going into 2026, this is like almost like the year of AI where there's going to be more simplicity in it. I mean, it's so embedded into our phones. So I think we're going to start seeing more and more and more of this. So with that being the case, I would be very much paying attention about what's going on with AI and where you can implement this into the administrative tasks of what we do, right? Don't have it replace you, but the administrative stuff, I think there's absolutely a lot of value there for sure. So action items from this article, what I would say is go back, cancel any subscriptions with any kind of, probably the easiest thing to do is go back and cancel any subscription, anything you have that you haven't logged into in the past 3 months. If you go back and you say, I've not logged into this in the past 3 months, for a fact you're not using that. That's a quarter of a year you've not opened that tech. Get rid of it. You don't need it. Save the money. And then go back and I would begin looking through everything else and seeing what else I need. If I don't need this, if I'm not using this, get rid of that. I think this article is very good at just highlighting this to get us thinking. And then if you are caught in the trap where you have multiple CRMs right now, I would work on finding one and consolidating all your contacts into one CRM. And that brings data integrity to what you have and puts everything into one system, and then learn that system extremely well and then begin to implement the systems built, the tools and stuff built into that system to help you leverage and convert more leads, right? All right. Then I would also, that's enough. That's enough of that one. Let's jump on into the next article here so we can keep moving forward. This one, actually, I was going to share yesterday. I was going to share this one yesterday. Let me see. Switch here. Yeah, this one right here is by realestatebusiness.com. And it says here, top social media strategy to turn post into profit. So what this article is, I briefly kind of read through this. It breaks down a shift from what I said earlier, like the vanity type metrics, where it's about me, focused on me and how great I am. Look at my awards and look what I've done, all those type of things, to focusing on the things that actually give you the return on investment, the ROI. Like, what are the differences between the vanity metrics and actually using social media to generate ROI, right? So this is going to be kind of a conversation kind of about that, moving you guys from a comment section, like where people are just commenting on your post, into more of like a calendar invite. setting appointments, right? Like, how do you go from just blasting everything out there that you have and then taking that and then focusing more on, direct messages, DMs, and trying to get appointments from your social media efforts, right? So we're going to talk about engagement versus conversion and that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get into this now. It says, in a supply-constrained market, social media can give real estate agents a competitive edge, helping them stand out, stay top of mind, capitalize on timing, and win more listings. Here's how to leverage the algorithm, right? Let me see if I can find out who this is by. This is by Emily Lauer. Emily Lauer. So good job, Emily, on this. This is a good little conversation. She quotes this: to be successful in social media marketing, agents have to think about their current demographic, but also who they wish to attract as they want to start planting the seeds for the people they want to work with down the road. Now, there's a lot in that quote, guys. To be successful at social media marketing, what did she say at the very beginning of that? She said agents have to think about their current demographic. Don't fall into the trap that I need to follow every single trend that every other person out there is doing, right? Because now you're just like everybody else. She made a very good statement here where who is your demographic that you are wanting to target? Who is your target demographic that you're trying to appeal to? Who is the natural demographic that you work with almost on a regular basis? You need to think about all that you do on social media, that you tailor it towards that demographic, right? But also, she said this: who they wish to attract as they want to start planting the seeds with people they want to work with down the road. Down the road. This is not just that immediate thought process. What you post now, is it going to be on point for your brand and for who you are as a professional 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now? What does that look like? Because what you do on social media is not immediate conversion. It's a long play game. So what you're posting ultimately does matter. It does matter, and you need to think that way. We're going to skip on down. She says the 3-part content strategy. All right. According to Christensen, agents should use the rule of 3 and create 3 types of content that work together like 3 Beyoncés rather than a single strong piece and 2 weaker ones. In content marketing, she said it translates to creating content that attracts the right audience, nurtures their engagement, and ultimately converts them into leads. To be an effective strategy, she said that agents must be very specific about who they want to reach, where to find them, and what message will resonate amid all the noise. I would do this, guys. I would sit down and maybe take an hour or so. Look through your past transactions. Go through and find out the average selling price, what the people you represented are, what type of person they are, what kind of life experiences they were looking for, and start writing down details about the people you commonly worked with. You might find there's a demographic that almost you naturally found that was who you worked with the most. That then shows you who you are most naturally like. I would then go to Facebook and social media and TikTok and everywhere else and look who's liking and commenting my videos, and then do some research about who those people are and what they are like. That way you can hone in a little bit on who your audience is. As you take and you write down this note, guess what we have on our side to help us kind of tailor what we are like and who we need to be talking to? AI. You can take that quick jotting down of notes and go straight into AI and just say, hey, look, I'm a real estate agent, wanted to build a strong business, focused on this type of demographic with these characteristics. What is my best strategy going forward to make sure my content and how I market myself is on point? And let it generate some ideas and talk with AI and let it kind of throw out some ideas and work through some things. And then tweak it as you go and come up with a mission statement from that. And then use that as your content pillar and filter. In other words, this is what my content is. These are my pillars. This is what my content is always going to be like. And then if I'm going to be posting something, I'm going to run it through that filter and make sure that it hits that on point, right? So that's just a strategy out there for you guys. She says, number 1, attract new audiences. Christensen said that even before posting content on social media, agents should market themselves by ensuring their profiles are up to date and accurately reflect who they are. So attract new audiences, focus on what that is. It says people don't have time to waste. When people stop on your social profile, they're going to want to know, is this for me or not? Straight up out the gate, right? Straight up out of the gate. That's what they want to know. However, agents need to engage actively. They can't just post and leave. They need to respond immediately and interact with others. Then she says, number 2, nurture content for the existing audience, right? So that's why I said go back and look at your social media and dissect it and see what's going on in there and who's engaging with you and who's commenting on you and what that looks like, because that's the people you want to nurture. That's the people that is existing. That is the ones that's coming back on a regular basis to comment on what you're doing. That is your core group, right? So when you start thinking about who you're targeting, that's how you do that. That's how you build that idea, right? All right, we'll jump down to number 3. It says convert content into leads. While posting content boosts agents' visibility, Christensen said the most important aspect of social media is genuine engagement. She said your hook should reflect real client concerns, grab attention, and spark conversation. It says once a post is published, Christensen urges agents to stay active in the first 15-20 minutes and respond quickly to comments and messages to build trust and signal relevance to social media algorithms. All right, so we're playing the algorithm game a little bit here, but how do you convert a lead? Well, you're addressing a core issue that your audience has, right? So when you start responding to the challenges that your people, that your audience is dealing with, and when you start doing that, that's going to help you to be able to convert that engagement into an actual lead, because you're addressing a pain point that they have in their lives, right? And that's what you're trying to do with your content. It doesn't mean you can't have fun, but make sure it follows the pillars that you set up and you run it through your filter to make sure it's on brand point, right? And then she goes on and she says, avoid the tall poppy syndrome. She says, while for some agents, social media is a given, Christensen said that for others, it seems unnatural and uncomfortable. Agents have to look at it like a continuation of their service in the online space. She said that nowadays, many people hesitate to reach out to agents immediately, but still want to learn about their local markets, lifestyle, and community features. There's some engagement ideas and some post ideas there. Real estate agents can effectively translate their local knowledge online, but adopting a service-focused approach, 100% agree, which overcomes fear and provides genuine value to potential clients. It's not just meant for advertising, but also how agents can help their communities and by those hyper-local experts, she concluded. So there's a lot inside of this. The reality is when we start going through this, there is just a lot of noise and people are swiping through things and there's not this active engagement. And even like what I'm doing here, look, this is not for everybody. I'm not going to be building a massive influence, right? Because this is aimed specifically at real estate agents, and it's not also the most fun and exciting live stream out there, right? I am talking, just going through news articles, and I'm doing a lot of talking. So even if my audience is a very small audience, even if the real estate agents that do take the time to sit here and listen to me talk, that if I'm providing something value and I'm helping them grow a business, that I'm staying on the brand point that I feel like that my content pillars is about, right? And my goal here is to help strengthen real estate agents, cut away the noise. And what I'm trying to do inside of this article and dissecting this article is helping you to think the same way, is don't fall into the trap that you just want to constantly be posting to follow every single trend that's out there. I would be genuine. Post what is relevant and the issues that your clients are suffering from and having difficulty with. Commenting, direct messaging, and those type of things, right? So what would be my action items from this article? What would I say? What would I encourage you to do? Well, I would go into your social media right now and I would set an appointment for yourself every single day. You're going to you can name the number. I'm just going to throw out a number and say 5, right? I would send 5 personalized direct messages, DMs, to people who liked your post. Not even commented. Just go through there, find people that just liked your post, and maybe find those that have liked multiples of your post and shoot them a direct message and just simply say, man, it was really awesome to see that you liked my video. I hope it helped you and served you well, and you found some value of that. If I can ever be of help to you, please reach back out. I would love to be able to be there to support you, right? What a touch that is. And that frees you up for having to chase this rat race of trying to post more and more content. And you might be just focusing on one really good brand on point content that generates likes and comments that you can then take those comments and likes and massage and direct message, right? Set up a time to do that every single day. That's active prospecting in a way, right? I would do this. I would record a 60-second like review of like a local small business or something going on in your community almost every single week, because you're providing something back that your community needs to hear, right? You are the expert. Give them that image. Let them see what that's about, right? And I would absolutely change my contact me to like maybe like download my local marketing guide and that kind of stuff. Like maybe download your pre-filled contract so you can better understand what it's like to buy a house. If you're a new first-time buyer, hey, I've got a packet I would like to send you. Download it here, right? Just offer something of service back, not so much about, hey, contact me if you want to buy or sell a house. Everybody says that. Everybody's doing that. There's no differentiation in that whatsoever. All right, so go back to your recent post, reply to every comment with a question, and then take those and then direct message them and see what happens, right? All right, let's go on to the next article here. This one here is by Inman. It's Relationships Before Reels, Why Real Estate Still Runs on Connection. Look, this is where I'm doubling down this year. This is where I am, and I say this year, I do this every single year. This is my entire concept of being a real estate agent, right? And I've been doing this for over 20 years, guys. This is exactly where I hone in. This is what it's about. It is about relationships. If you're on social media and you're doing certain things, like great, you're out there, but it needs to be cultivating true relationships. It needs to be angled at that, because we're throwing ourselves out there and we're so worried about all the audience and all the likes and all the shares and all this kind of stuff that we're negating the real relationship, and we're getting away from that. So this article kind of highlights that. And that's why I wanted to lean into this, because this is exactly where I would say 100% spend your efforts. All your time and efforts need to be on this. It says, at its core, real estate hasn't changed much at all, writes broker owner Emily Askin. It's still about showing up for people, building trust, and staying connected long after the closing table. By the way, yeah, let's see who this is by. I always want to give a shout out to them. Emily Askin is a broker owner with Remax at home and Remax Preferred. Connect with her on Instagram there. So we're going to read through this, and I think she's done a good job just kind of reframing our minds about what this is about, right? She says, after nearly 20 years in real estate, I can relate to that, I've learned that this business may change, but people and the way we build trust with them stay the same. Yes. Amen. Because here's the thing, is like we have all these different ways of communication, right? But we are the most disconnected generation ever. We do, like, how many of you guys actually know your neighbors that well? How many of you guys can go down the street and have a long conversation with your neighbor and you know them? You know their kids' names, you know their dogs, you know your neighbors. Not very many, I would venture to guess. Not very many. But guess what? That's what people want. They still want connection. They still crave that. So people have not changed. People have not changed. She goes on to say, every few years, a new marketing trend sweeps through the industry, promising to reinvent the way we reach clients. Yet no matter how much technology evolves, one truth remains constant. Real estate is and always will be a relationship business. This is where AI can't replace you. Technology can't replace you. CRMs can't replace you. Website, your social media cannot replace you, right? As long as you demonstrate you. This is where AI is disrupting our industry, because everybody's going on to AI, generating every single type of email and post, and everybody's starting to sound exactly the same, given the same exact information, and there's no human touch, no human relationship there whatsoever, right? And that needs to change. We have got to get back to connecting with people. That's what this is about. So let's get back to the article. Sorry. She's singing my language here. Personal connection by the numbers. I'm going to jump on down. The data backs this up. According to the National Association of Realtors, 2025 profile of home buyers and sellers. Now listen up, guys. Listen to this. 43% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. Does not say social media. That's almost 50%, right? So almost 50% of your referrals come from friends or family. So if that's the case, where should a majority of your time be spent connecting with? Previous clients, friends, and family, right? 49% of first-time buyers used an agent referred to them. That's 49%. 41% of repeat buyers were referred to their agent, while 18% returned to a previous agent. 66% of sellers worked with an agent they had previously hired or who had been referred to them. Do you see how high these percentages are? Because then you have to go look at the other side of the aisle here, right? How much of the percentage comes from social media? It starts getting divided. You got portal leads, you got company leads, you got walk-ins, you got phone calls, you got all these other sources, right? Cold calling, door knocking, all these other sources on the other side. But almost 50% comes from where? Friends and family and previous clients. So where do you spend your time, right? Where do you spend 50% of your time connecting and prospecting? It should be those tight-knit relationships. You should be taking, your past clients out to coffee and connecting with them, renting out theaters for your client celebrations and doing things like that, right? Showing them that you care. 80% of sellers only contacted one agent. Only 1% of buyers found their agent through social media. Guys, 1% is what they found. If you are spending 50%, 70% making all kinds of social media posts and videos and all that kind of stuff, guess who's winning? Probably not you. The ones winning are the agents who have been in this industry for a long time that have built strong relationships over the years and have a very strong referral business. So if you're a new agent, guess where you need to be spending your time? Building relationships, connecting with people, right? That's what this is. It's funny is I'm asked all of the time, like, I need the strategy. I need the plan to make this. I want to be successful in real estate and I want to build a strong business. What kind of advice do you have for me? My advice is always the same. Connect with people. Who's your friends? Who's your family? Where do you serve in your community? Do that. Make sure everybody that knows you knows you're in real estate now. Take them out to coffee, get to know them, connect with them. Like that's where you start. It's just not rocket science. And then when we talked earlier, talking about building systems and processes on those other categories, you can go back and watch that. Like that's the next phase, right? That's where you lean in heavily. Putting that all together, that doesn't mean social media isn't important. That's true. In fact, the best agents know how to marry both worlds. They use social platforms to stay visible, share expertise, and stay top of mind, but they also block time for real prospecting. They call past clients, host appreciation events, there you go, and show up in meaningful ways. So look, that's the core here, right? That's the core about what we do. It doesn't mean social media is not important. No. But how you use it is, like how you engage with it. That goes back to the previous article we just talked about, right? Like the top strategies for social media engagement. Like what does that look like, right? This article here. Like that's that whole conversation. Like it's not about just following trends. It's about posting things that is on brand point for me, like that is about my business and helps me grow, right? That helps me grow my company correctly while I serve people. And then, so if I use social media in that way, in that context, under those guidance, under my brand and those pillars and that funnel and that filter, then I'm going to be using social media effectively to touch the people that are the closest to me. So that goes back to like reaching out to the people that are liking all of your videos and commenting. It's not about posting as much as you can post. It's about genuine connection and relationships. You need to be spending your time with that. That is where your focus needs to be found. Look, clients, your consumer, the people you're working with, they are so overwhelmed with so much information, automated emails, drip campaigns, AI generated chat bots. Like they are inundated with that. Automatic AI text messaging, right? That doesn't even sound like you. Those are all lost opportunities to actually connect with real humans, right? That take time, yes, but it's very important time. Doesn't mean you do it with everybody. There are use cases where you use all those tools I just mentioned for the majority when you're trying to convert somebody. But don't do that with your core group that is part of your sphere of influence. That's not where you do that with. That is not who you do that with, right? So think about this. The open rate of an email versus an open rate of a handwritten note. What do you think the difference is? I can tell you, I've actually done a lot of research on the whole email open rate. If the person even likes you, the person even uses you will only open up 20% chance of opening up your email. Even the person that follows you, that number drops from 20% down to almost 8. Oh, it's like 8.4% actually open your email. So when you're doing mass email and drip campaigns, think about that. Not even 10% of those people are even opening the email and digesting what it says. What do you think the open rate is of a handwritten note? What do you think it is? I guarantee you know it's 100%. What happens when you get a letter handwritten in the mail? And you know that some of these marketing companies are really good at making it look like handwritten. You still open it. It's a good tactic. But if you truly handwrote a note and to your clients, your sphere, your core sphere, you open every single time. Every single time, right? Yep, I guarantee it. 80% of top producers' business comes from 20% of their core advocates. Okay? 80% come from their 20%. Do you understand what that means? That means that 20% of the people you work with, if you had 100 people you worked with last year, 20% is in your core group. And that core group, that 20% that you've pulled into your core, that 20 people give you 80% of your business. If you go by the stats we just shared, about 49%, right, come from referrals, right? So that's where your money comes from. That's your business, right? That's your business. All right, so what's your action items out of this? What would I say? Hey, do these type of things, right? What does that look like? Well, here's what I would say. We talked about daily prospecting, daily direct messaging, right, earlier. Maybe set a time to every single week write 5 notes, 5 handwritten notes to your core group. Find 20 people that are your closest friends that have used you, that referred business to you, and write them a handwritten note, just saying thank you or touching base, whatever you want to say. Do that every single week, maybe every day if you got the time, but that's sphere maintenance at its core. That is maintaining your core relationships, right? And I would schedule, at least 2 no agenda type meetings at all with the people that have referred you the most business in the past year. I would start scheduling those meetings right now. No agenda, just connecting, being human, connecting with them, talking about things and their life and how the things are going at their house and that kind of stuff, right? And I would go through every single CRM, drip campaign, all the automations and stuff that you do, and remove any bot-like sounding language from those automated follow-ups. I'm not saying don't use automatic follow-ups. There's a use case for those. Again, I'm not saying that. But don't just use AI to then generate those bots and that language. Go back and tweak it and make it sound like you, right? All right. So that's what I would say is some action items. Let's transition now over to some just quick little news here as I wrap up the show for the day, guys. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have been finding some value here. If you have, consider subscribing, liking, and following. That would be greatly appreciated. By no means you don't have to. It's a gift when you guys do that. I greatly appreciate that. And I hope you are finding value in this. My whole goal here is to provide value back to the real estate agent community, help you guys reframe your mind just from my own personal experiences and what I see happening in the market. So this show is all about the news and kind of dissecting that and going through what that looks like, right? So, all right, let's go into this article here. I'm not going to be laboring on this too long. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway forecasts big real estate shift. He says the home services company makes an important mortgage rate and housing market statement. And the key points here, it says this: mortgage rates dropped to their lowest in over 3 years, improving housing market activity. It says refinancing can save homeowners significantly, but breaking even depends on closing costs and rate changes. So now we are shifting our minds now to more of the market, about what's happening in the market. Home buyers now prioritize move-in readiness, modern amenities, smart features, and efficient appliances. It starts talking about when government-sponsored enterprises like Freddie Mac released the results of its primary mortgage market survey on January 15th. It had found significant news for homeowners and home buyers. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.06%, down from the previous week when it averaged 6.16, and down from the preceding year when it averaged 7.04. All right. Then it talks about the 15-year mortgage and what that looks like. Oh, by the way, this is by thestreet.com by Jeffrey Quiggle. Jeffrey Quiggle is the author of this article here. So thank you for this. Late last week, mortgage rates dropped, driving the weekly average down to its lowest level in more than 3 years. Sam Cater, Freddie Mac's chief economist. Now, then Freddie Mac made a prediction about the upcoming spring housing market, and it says this: the impacts are noticeable as weekly purchase applications and refinance activity have jumped, underscoring the benefits for both buyers and current owners, he continued. It's clear that housing activity is improving and poised for a solid spring sales season. All right, this is where Warren Buffett begins to explain refinancing as a result. All right, it says, if a home buyer has a mortgage rate of more than 7%, they have the opportunity to refinance that loan for a rate a full percentage point lower or more. So I'll pause here, guys. This is where I would say, if you have sold any properties, and you got to go back, this started in 2023. We know from 2020 to 2021 and a little bit into 2022, that interest rate was like hovering right around the 3% range, right? It wasn't, give or take some. But then the market began to change, right? They began to make corrections in the market because inflation was going crazy. So in 2022 and throughout 2022, interest rates started inching up. By 2023, we were at almost a 7%. In some areas, we were at 7%. So I would go back in any deal that you closed in the past couple years, 2 to 3 years, they have a mortgage that might be worth refinancing. This is a great opportunity to make a great touch with your previous clients and just offer them, hey, just so you know, interest rates have dropped. And if you're still, have not refinanced, you might want to consider that. I would also talk to lenders and see what's being offered in your area as far as like what the rates are that they're offering, and come prepared to have that conversation and just say, hey, look, I've been talking to some of my mortgage friends, and this is what they're kind of saying. This is some of the programs they're offering, some closing cost assistance, things like that. Have those conversations. It's a great value touch, right? Yeah. There, he just said what I just said. Mortgage rates have undergone a remarkable swing. Yep. All right. We're going to jump on down. Key times when refinancing is worth it. So we're going to jump into the kind of the points here of what this article is talking about. Key times when refinancing is worth it. So if you are an agent listening, this is when you can advise and pay attention, run the math to see when it might be a viable option for your clients to refinance. To secure a reduced interest rate, a lower rate can decrease your monthly payment and lead to substantial long-term savings. To reduce monthly expenses, extending the loan term or obtaining a more favorable rate can make payments more manageable. So that helps that income to affordability rate. To convert to a fixed rate mortgage, shifting from an adjustable rate loan provides consistent, predictable payments. To touch on that, there are some that had an adjustable rate mortgage back in the 23, 24s because the interest rate did spike up to 7. And so they did an ARM. Well, those reset every so many years, and that could be happening. And if they are on an ARM, then they might have spiked up or still hovering around the 7.5. So it'd be worth them going back and refinancing to get more of a fixed rate mortgage. So that's a good touch. So I'd go back and look for your deals that did get an ARM and see if you can make a call there and help them in that process as well. To eliminate mortgage insurance, this is PMI. This is a good opportunity for them to refinance, to basically hopefully remove that PMI. In other words, that debt to income ratio of the house and how much they owed on the house versus how much the equity was there. It has to have that mortgage insurance on there, which comes at a pretty hefty fee. And by removing that, you can save yourself a whole lot of money. To access home equity, maybe they need to put some stuff into their house and there's a reason for them to refinance to do so, to get a lower rate and break even somewhere and pull some cash out to do some really good home upgrades and maybe add more equity to their home when they're done. And then to shorten the payment period, choose a 15-year mortgage. Maybe they can take it from a 30 to a 50, a 15, or 25 to a 15, right? Whatever's left. That's another great advice. It clarifies what the home buyers don't want: signs of neglect. If you didn't fix that broken drawer, what else did you ignore? They don't want that. Outdated features. They're looking for outdated decor as a hint to buyers that systems are outdated too. Old paint colors, wallpaper, textures. So if you want to advise your clients on like what they could do to kind of spruce up their properties that attract the most buyers, well, if you go into a home and it could be the minor things. A lot of times I see this, and you guys know this as well. You guys are agents. But you go into a house and the trim's not painted and they're scuffed and there's the transitions and the carpet and the paint and the stains on the wall, the scratches on the walls and all these type of things look minor, and they're all minor things. But when a client walks to the home and they see all those little minor issues, they then start making assumptions about the core of the property, right? They start thinking that now everything's been neglected and there's bigger problems. So that's a big thing. So when you're going through your scrutinized properties, trying to get it on the market and they're asking what else they could do, I had always advised sellers, like, look, if you can do it, I would, spruce up the paint, fix some scratches, do some transitioning, maybe cleaning carpet, replacing the carpet, those type of things. So we eliminate those little minor things to lead the buyer to think that there's bigger issues that maybe there's not, right? And then of course, yeah, outdated features, go through bathrooms, kitchens, those type of things, HVAC, those are all issues. Like if there's problems with those things, to help them bring the value up, they need to be addressed. And maybe there's a way to refinance to get equity and those type of things if they're wanting to stay there to fix that up. And then within a couple of years, sell it later, right? But having those conversations is good. What home buyers want? Eating Kitchen Island. That's interesting. Eating Kitchen Island. Central Island offers a natural gathering spot. They want walk-in pantries. I think this was a missed opportunity for many, many years. We definitely need pantries. Energy Star appliances, energy efficiency, stone countertops, smart features. That's becoming more and more common now. Laundry facilities. People are wanting dedicated laundry rooms for like storage, pet-friendly features, and that kind of stuff added into that for the convenience of the family. And then the people love the outdoor living space. They love the outdoor living space. All right. So what I would say is some action items here. I would go in and I would create a chart showing the price of home appreciation versus interest rates. And I talk about this. It's like the affordability mapping type thing I talk about all the time. But I would create basically a chart that's going to just break down like what home appreciation has been in your area, and then what that equity looks like, and see what that percentage is like. Get that number for every call you're going to make, and then do the math. Look and see what they are actually the savings that would be for if they're at 7% and they get down to 6%, and what that number looks like, and have that number by talking to some lenders and figuring out what that payment would be if they did that, or if they got rid of PMI and that kind of stuff. So go back through your files, look and see what kind of loans they had, and make the calls to those people, right? That's what I would do. And then I would get in a habit. If you want to go back to like talking about social media, that kind of stuff, I would absolutely, sorry, there we go. My TikTok's live stream was having issues. I would absolutely go back I would absolutely send a weekly rate reality email or social media post talking about what this interest rate adjustment means, right? If we're at 7, here's what 6 means, right? So if you bought and do the math and just kind of show them that, maybe make a quick social media post, a quick video about that. I think that would be very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Let's see. I've got one more article, but you know what? I'm going to wait until tomorrow and I'll share this. Today we have went through a lot. We're wrapping up now. We've been here for an hour, so definitely don't want to linger and talk too much longer. It's been a long time. So I do want to say just thank you guys for taking the time to watch today. I appreciate that. Hopefully you did get some value out of this. And that's my goal here is just to come alongside you, have a nice relaxed live stream, talking through some news, dissecting what I see in that. But you know what, guys, if you guys are watching, I love engagement. Like I like having chat and conversations and people asking me questions and stuff like that. So come here, do your own research and bring it up here. I would love to have a community that comes and just talks about real estate and the news and what's going on, and work through those type of things as we go through this. But I do thank you guys for taking the time to do this. I don't take that lightly. I do appreciate that. So hopefully you guys have a good day. Those that are in this crazy snowstorm that's coming through the area in the next few days, stay safe, stay warm, be safe, use wisdom, that type of stuff. Be careful, because it can definitely be difficult through the snow, because especially they're kind of predicting some ice and stuff too. So be safe. All right. Well, that is your real estate brief for today. I hope you did find this absolutely helpful for your real estate business. If you did, though, please consider hitting the like button, following, subscribing, all of those things, which will obviously tell the algorithms out there that you want more of this type of content. Also consider, sharing this to your community. If you found this valuable and you have friends and coworkers that could benefit from this kind of information, please consider taking the links and sharing that out too as well, so we can build a community of agents that come together and talk through these type of things and strengthen our business together. That is the goal here. That is what I desire. And I want to help agents build a very thriving, relationship-focused company. That is the goal. We've talked about it over and over today. That is why we're here. There's always so much more I could be said. Guys, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.